Morning again. Right, see if I'm gonna. Yeah, we'll give it a go. Gonna do another full session today. This is essentially my second pressing session. Yeah, out of my 4 days, I have what you'd call a deadlift day, pressing day, a squat day, and then a secondary pressing day, where I instead of doing like a push press, I do a log. Again, I'd say I've got to be fair to the world at large. Not my best, but that's why I do it twice. Well, the log at least once. It'll make sense. Oh, excuse. I had a digestion burp. Right. I might chuck on a bit of music today. Nothing too loud, so you can still hear me babble on. There we go. Bit of old school rock and roll. Old metal, really, technically. Not your Black Sabbath level, maybe, but not bad at all. Nice bass line. Some bandy warm-ups. Wake the shoulders up. Where I would be fair and say, Preston, it is a weakness. Over a squat, a pivot. Well, look at your sort of events you're getting strongman. A deadlift, obviously that's there. I'm not a master of the deadlift, but as the motions of it go, motions, movement, same thing. It is not my worst. Squatting rarely involved in strongman competitions. Obviously, it has happened, but it's not very common. But squatting, if you could, once you grab on something, it certainly helps you pick it up. So I wouldn't say it was a weakness. Atlas stones, I can't tell, to be honest, but I can tell by sandbags. Not too bad at him. Throwing things, again, it depends on the weight, but I wouldn't think I can get the motions right. I wouldn't say I was too bad, but I do know I'm always going to struggle a little bit with pressing, depending on the implement. I haven't got a monster dumbbell, but I have got fat grips that I put onto a dumbbell. 1 minute. There you go. Dumbbell with a fat grip on it, which gives you that, 2 inches to try and grip round, which, as you can see, my fingers just don't quite reach. couple of warm-up weights with these. The family are back tomorrow, so I might not be able to get away with them. Do these lively things. Well, I can try, but it'll be very compact. But I'm going to try anyway. Right, I'm trying one motion these, well, from the lap. Total of 57.5 kilos last week, and it was a grinder, so I'm not really expecting loads more. So it is what it is. And again, and as I explained earlier with the program, how I ran it, I want to be able to leave a bit of space. So we'll see. We'll see. Can't find my diddy weight. Is that one of my diddy weights? Nah, it's a 2.5. I might do something different today. If I can't find my other 1.25 kilo weight, I might well go up to 60 and just practice the clean. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Bear with me. I am down a wrist strap. Bear with me again. Yeah, I'm down a wrist strap. That could be a pain. Definite pain in the wrist. So I got wrist straps. And what they do, they help keep your wrist locked. So it's a little bit concerning that I can't find the other one. Aha! Haha! Now, this is not going to make a miracle happen. I think I felt them two there. So, I might... I'm going to up in the weight so I can at least get a heavier clean on the yoke. There's no shame in that. I think I'll do some 55s and then I'll make my mind up. See, the best intentions, plans in all the world are great, but really and truly, when it hits the fan, it's down to your body to tell you what you're going to do. Maybe I'll do my 3 sets of 3 on 55. I'll see how the 3 go on 55, and I might strict press. I'll get the first rep out and then I'll work out from there, because I think it was actually the strict press that I was working on. Hang on. Yeah, it is supposed to be the strict log I'm working on, so we'll see how we go with 55. So I've got found my wrist straps, so I feel a little bit safer. Right. I hope you're all having a good morning. And have considered liking, subscribing. Maybe you've visited the website. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, should I? Maybe, maybe not. I'd say if you listen to the maybe and give me a contact, and we'll work on getting you stronger, fitter and healthier. I did put out my little rant on walking yesterday. It's just if you know people who, through no fault of their own, can't walk, I do get a little bit like, people complain about walking. Sometimes I do get a little bit like, do you know how much so and so would love to be able to walk? Get off your ass and walk. If you want more about that, go check out the video on walking. I think I titled it Walk. mean, I done a lot of that yesterday for me. But again, he's only walking, not capable. Right. Set one down. 3 sets of 3 on the log today. 55. Again, got to listen to the body. If I'm brutally honest, I do think what happened last week, I went to 57 and a half. And I got a set of 3 and then 2 sets of 2. So that's a sign that really I am punching above the weight at the moment. Which, as I say, come week 3 you should be pushing, but you should also be more serious with yourself. I think it's harder for me strict pressing than it is trying to get it all in one hit. But I'll have a look back on the videos here and I'll work out what I think. Alright. Rock and roll. This is where you get to see the two parts of me, the musician and strength. Once I get that first competition out of the way, I would have said to the missus, that technically will make me an amateur strongman. And I'll take it. I do believe you've got to compete though before you do it. When I'm hashtagging myself at the moment, strongman, strength coach. It's the truth. It's the truth. But, as I say, I haven't fully. I'll be hashtagging competitive strongman once I get that first competition under the belt. Whoop, too soon. I like to make the belt, the buckle, the last step. Chalky on the hands, I'll put my wrist straps on. As I say, this underbelt, support belt, don't get me wrong, I can feel it, it holds you in, but just not quite as much as when you pull that lever. Right, 3 reps. Angie. Your legs are too short, so use your head. Little. There I am. Little Ralph Bashkin's Lord of the Rings reference there. Woo! Yeah. 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 Don't be afraid to show your airs and graces, show your fails. I mean, yeah, I got them, but they were a bit scrappy. I say that first one, not too bad. But see, I was trying to put some leg drive onto there, but if you try and get that leg drive and you've got this big log sort of in your face, so you've got to keep your neck back and then try and get some. It's just something I'm going to have to keep working on. Maybe on my next program that I run, I'll put in some more these, maybe even some strict stuff from the rack. So have a clean day, a day on the clean and a day on the press, on the strict rather. Yeah. Back to the breaker. These 4 walls are closing in. Look at the fix you put me in. Definitely a bit light for early days Rainbow, but I do like this song. You cast a spell, so break it. I think this is the only danger about me putting music on in my sessions. Sooner or later, in a rest period, I will start singing along. That said, I've got to be a bit honest. My music has taken, I believe, a step aside recently. But I do believe this is all to do with like the moving issues, not having a place yet to move to. I do think once that bit's out of the way, it's going to be a big weight off the shoulders, and then I'll be kicking it again, winding up the neighbours, winding up the kids. I would say that people could argue, well, is your training not a hobby? And no, it is not. A hobby you can deal with missing. I am the grumpiest bastard if I miss a training session. Ask my wife. She will confirm. Right now, I think I only got. This is when I mentioned about that chart, ticking off what you get, what you don't. I do think I only had the one set, so we'll see. I want to feel like I've had 2 sets, but I don't really think I can. I think that's just wishful thinking. Right, we'll see if we can get 2 pretty ones, at least. But we'll take it if they're both a bit ugly. second one felt not too bad, but I'm not sure on the range of motion on the drop there. As I said, you'll have to comment for me. That third one, I felt the depth was right because the log was definitely on top of my chest, and I had to go for like a bit of a wonky leg drive. The trick is as well, well, you've got to keep your head back because you've got to keep the arms straight. Always got to keep your elbows underneath the implement you're pressing. So if you go like that way, boom. Again, I'm playing it strategically safe-ish at the moment. I'm almost certain that the chances of me getting past the monster dumbbell on the Preston event are shy. I'll be honest right now, if I can get just the monster dumbbell out of the way, I'll be more than happy. Yeah, of course, maybe I'll have a go on the axle, but where I have never mixed grip, and you watch on the content, you've seen strongmen tear biceps on the mixed grip. So I've said to myself, you know what? If I can maybe from the bottom zercher into my chest, or use monkey grips and sort of like monkey bar deadlift it right up to the belt, and from there, I don't know, think of something. Maybe there, go onto the zerchery thing, try and get into a front loading position, get me. I don't know how that axle press is going to work out. I need to get an axle bar really, but finances don't dictate. Well, dictate that it's probably not going to happen. Right, in mind's eye now, I'm aiming for. I'm planning for 2 and hoping for 3. To make sure the log touches chest on that second one. That's why I'm thinking 2. 2 might be the lot. take. That I will take. Woo! Now, unfortunately, this next exercise, got to do a lot of rearranging to get to it. Why? In the next place, the shed where I'll probably be training out of is going to need to be certain dimensions so I can have certain setups done. It's also going to be a very tall shed. This is another case of my secondary exercise being heavier than the first. It's in here. Narnia. No, I'll have to move to this there as well. So I'm working out the next exercise, the last exercise. What I use to sit on. Yeah. Next, move on to a close grip bench. Really hammer the triceps. Strong triceps, strong press. Science. Right, now I know what I hit last week. And I've got my numbers for this week. So I'm going to warm up with a couple of lighter exercises. And then go for the working weight. I do believe this is definitely one of those cases where I've got a few more reps in the tank after I get my main three. Okay. Now, this next song skips at the beginning, but luckily it's a long song and it only skips at this first little section. You can tell the CD has been slightly overplayed. Yeah, it's a compilation of Rainbow, Deep Purple, Dio, White Snake, and I think Gillian. Yeah, who, memory serves me correct, done vocals for Rainbow at some point. Whether they will ever have a better vocalist than Dio, never mind. You don't want to hear all the music, jargon, talk, yeah? Or do you? Question. If you're interested in anything to do with my music, interests, etc., drop a comment and I will fulfill your questions with some music. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Close your eyes. Right, I'm not going to go for the 3 reps on this on the warm-ups. Maybe 1 or 2. Or I might have to move the thing. I'll disappear in a minute otherwise. Right, I'm going to move the thing along. Work out if you can still see what I'm up to. There you go. Here I am. Yeah, they felt alright. It felt good, but there's an obvious resistance. So that is what we want. No, I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to jump straight to 80. I've done 70 for the warm-up. I'm going to do 75 for a couple. Then I'm going to do 80. So I dare say to a lot of people watching on, these weights are going to be sounding like nothing fantastic. But I haven't got on the scales this morning because they broke. But to be fair, I got on the scales a couple of weeks ago, and I was at 80. So for 80 kilos at 5 foot 10, 5 foot 11. We'll go 5'10" and a half. Something like that. And at 41, could be a lot worse, you know. If I find that other 1 1/4 weight will be added. Never doubt yourself until you've seen proof that you can't do what you want to do, what you'd like to be doing in lifting terms. This means you haven't hit it yet. good. All good. Oh. Hey. And how are you all doing in your fitness gym? Drop a comment. Are you preparing for your first strongman or strong woman competition? Are you crossfitting? Are you bodybuilding? Are you just improving shape and size, body competition? Are you just really wanting to lose weight? Or are you really wanting to gain weight to get into a heavy category? See, I'm confident I'll never be a world's open strongest man. I think there's a one, because the categories normally go 8, under 80, under 90, 105, and I don't know if it's legit, but I do believe there was a 110 or 115 category brought in, and 120 and above you're obviously considered open weight. Maybe I've got that wrong. Again, I think at 41 years of age, getting to a healthy 120 kilo in body weight, well, it's not impossible. That said, it would be, let's say I'm at 80 on the dot, it would, 120, what would that be, 40 kilograms. That would be 40 kilograms of body weight. So, yeah, and obviously I do want to retain a high-ish level of fitness. That's always important to me. I want to be able to, you know, my girls still like playing around, you know, daddy horsey, stuff like that. Mind you, I have had my days, sort of, normally after I've done competition training, and then they're like, daddy horsey, and I'm like, no, daddy broken in half. It's like, the horse is done, or the shit, that's the other one I do. You lie down flat, like in a push-up position, and then they sit on my back, and they're like, boat ride! A couple of times the water gets choppy and there's a big wave, and that's me doing a press up with them on my back. They want another wave straight away, I'm on the floor like, oh no! It's like the boat hit an iceberg, the boat is broken, and then it's just gentle waters. And every now and again one of my sons, not my eldest, my youngest son, reminds himself that he is only 10, it's still nice to be a child, and I'll jump on as well. At that point, at least one of the children ends up sat on my head for some reason. But I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do these things as long as I can. First set of 80, stop talking. reckon there'd be an ugly leatherette there. Maybe a broken daddy horsey or daddy boat. Get off me! Right. Yeah. Well, all three went up. Priorities. Time to reload. Oh, the video's cracking on. But, you know, I've been doing a bit of talking, a bit of singing. I've got to get an early bus today. We're in the washing on the line. The house is a bit of a shithole at the moment, from where I've been doing decorating. It's not all done yet, but I reckon where a lot of things have had a couple of coats of paint, it's just going to be one more coat over the house before I go, or before we go. And then the woodwork, where it really needs it. I'm definitely feeling them, which is the idea. As I've touched on, it's going to be deload week next week. So sessions will be, I'd say, considerably shorter, because I'm going to be cutting the weight down to anywhere from 50 to 60% off what I'm lifting now. So I'm not going to have to do much in the way of warming up the exercises individually. I'll do a little warm up before the session starts, but once it starts, get that session out of the way, and then just not playing with the weights. But that said, let's be perfectly honest, it's going to be a lot easier. That's the idea, deload. And after that, it's going to be 3 weeks of no holds barred again, and then it's going to be a deload week if I've timed it right. I think I've timed it right, and then it's competition. Bring it on, let's have some fun. Go with this is standard bench press now, but we're on to accessories, so 8 reps. Yeah. Triceps are actually feeling sufficiently fried from the close grip, so. Ooh. Again though, this is the point. In no way, shape or form is strongman easy. What I really need I would say the most I need to improve on is my diet. My breakfast is always good. I always make sure of that. And I have a couple of like proteiny yogurt, proteiny milkshake drinks. I mean, yeah, they're not as effective as you made your own homemade shakes. Added a bit of whey protein into there and a couple of bananas or something. But, you know, on a budget as well, you know. I am on a very tight budget. Block it out. If you've got stuff on your mind when you're training, outside of your training, and your training intensities are high, you do need to try and block out anything else. So get yourself into a zone and try not to have anything up there which is going to break through the zone. Come on. Ooh, kill that game. Well, hope you're all enjoying yourselves. Watching me beat the life out of my triceps. I do think next time round, next program rather, in place of flat bench for accessories, I may go with an incline. Because remember how I looked sometimes, you know, some pressing events you have to, when you arch your back in to help with the press, well, so you're here, you arch, keep your elbows underneath, you're practically at an incline anyway, aren't you? So, I might do that. Whether I'll do it for accessories or for a main, I'm not sure. I think bench is just one of those things, isn't it? You know, you get so caught up in it. I can't not bench sort of thing in a program. I don't know. I think it's just one of those exercises, isn't it? You know, it's got that iconic image to it. Much like the deadlift. I think more so though, if I'm honest, because while in terms of strength, and you know, my personal opinion, the deadlift is the daddy of all lifts. You know, think about how much of your body is incorporated into that deadlift. Also, it's the simplest, which makes it the hardest. Mechanically, it sounds so easy. Just pick it up from the floor. But then you start putting weight onto it. Pick it up off the floor. Then the weight gets higher. Pick it up before the weight gets higher and higher and higher till, oh my God, why won't it move? You don't need spotters for deadlifts. It's literally you and the barbell. So yeah. But yeah, everyone likes to bench it. Big burp. Well, it's going to be a nice sunny day in the UK. So, make sure I get my kids back before it gets too hot. My son gets travel sickness pretty bad. Last time we came back from Whitstable to Canterbury, a context if anyone's unsure, we had to get off the bus a bit earlier and walk it. Fine with me. Fine with me. See, that's it. That is it. My son knew there'd be a bit of a walk. Ended up being about a half hour, give or take, I think it was. But it's only walking, for God's sake. Near a part of a mile, possibly. We walked back from his last football match at home, about 40 minutes. And the first part of that one, the first half of that walk, was bloody steep uphill on a narrow path. But me and him walking it, and he was like, yeah, all right. Why put him in a car when he's going to feel a bit sick? When I can just, well, we can walk it. I mean, we had a break halfway and had a bite to eat, but like I said, you can, if that's doable, do it. Yeah. Because there used to be a burger van at this place. On this particular Saturday, no burger van. But I knew there was a little shop, because we walked past through a university campus, and there's a shop there. So we stopped in, got a sausage roll, a drink, packet of crisps, share bag, job done. Walk. Go again on my own. Yeah, I had my youngest with me as well. I mean, she was alright. She used to be a lot worse. My legs are tired. But again, pick her up and carry her. But yeah, you know. I know. Horrible parenting. But I did carry her some of the way, but I had a couple of bags of shopping as well. And she was really good about it. Obviously, it was just me and Connor walking. Boom. Oh. Ow! That's the thing. Really should consider upgrading this bench at some point. Bless it. Let's try and work out how old it is. Five. Cool. Right. It's working out now. 26 years old, maybe? And it's nothing fancy. 25 years, 26 years I've had this bloody... Yeah, about 26 years I've had that thing. Does the job though, does the job. As far as upgrades are concerned, I definitely want to get an axle barbell before I consider changing the bench. Unless of course I get the gym up and running. That is the dream, I would say that's definitely the dream. But brutal reality is, wife and 4 kids, you know. I need a steady income, reliable income. But there's every chance we'll get there. I've kept myself debt free, and I know there are people who have sort of like, I've put myself into XYZ amount of debt to get the business up and running. But hey, how many gyms are there in your local area, for example? For me, I can tell you there's loads. However, there's none that are that strongman, strongwoman focused. It's not. You've got your pure gyms. I think there's another sort of like type of gyms. I'm not going to start naming loads of names. So walk-in gyms, I suppose. You know, they have CrossFit and bodybuilding, treadmills, you know, the basics, the standards that you'd expect in most gyms to cover, they do, but no real focus on strongman. So, guess where people would want to go if they lived in the Canterbury area, UK, and if they wanted to get stronger, they wanted to start up strongman, seriously, or even as a part-time thing, you know, add it into their normal routine. They would come to my gym. But, you know, realistic as well, haven't I?